We navigate the fragile pipelines of our lives, risking everything we are, just to deliver a brief moment of security to the ones we love. We seal our fears beneath layers of illusion, praying the hounds of fate will pass us by, leaving us alone on the shore. We see a city that once stood proud on that shiny hill, a glittering mirage of palm-lined boulevards and neon promises, where the broken came to be reborn and the desperate came to die trying. In the shadow of towering dreams, we journey to the West Coast, to a landscape that screams of ultimate liberation. It is, in the minds of the desperate and the dreamers, the freest place on earth. But this freedom is a heavy, suffocating illusion.
We're out here on the West Coast, sun beating down, palm trees everywhere. Let me break it down for you about the Toy District. It's nothing to toy with. This spot right here, it's straight up the hub for everything cannabis. You got terps, or as you like to call it, spray for days. All the fire flavors, the loud ones that make your product hit. This is downtown LA. If you're trying to get into the game for real, this is ground zero. Walk down the street and it's supplier after supplier. Volume pricing that actually makes sense when you're seeking a break. Just make smart moves and stay low-key.
Observe these fragile sanctuaries of nylon and tarp lining the concrete. To the casual eye, it is a landscape of total failure. We watch the city slide past the glass, a claustrophobic montage of human displacement. A man drives through this canyon of forgotten souls, carrying the tools of his own clandestine trade, fully aware of how thin the line is between the freedom he chases and the jail cell that could claim him. We are forced to endure the agonizing stillness of the labyrinth. The camera moves with a slow, almost mechanical gravity down this canyon of cardboard and steel. Look upon this architecture of mass distribution. Within these towering rows, a man becomes completely insignificant, a mere ghost moving through a maze of consumer goods.
Hi, what's up? I'm Nate. This is my boy's warehouse. Solid dude lets me handle my shit out here. So this is where the pipeline starts, homie, right at this black box. We pack it careful, put the protection in, then it's gone. You feel me? Check it out, dude. Before we move on, this shit is crucial. Everything gotta be sealed up perfect and wiped down spotless. No particles on the box, no residue on the floor, no loose shit anywhere. Shippers and dogs notice that kind of thing. We do it right every single time. That's how the pipeline stays alive. Before we seal this up, let me show you. This right here is a necessary precaution when we ship in product. Shippers got dudes coming through with them long needles, jabbing every box trying to smell what's inside. That's why we put the sheetrock barrier in. Prevent a situation, bro. Saves headaches later. We locked in, dude. This warehouse hooks it up with straight FedEx business class next day. We catch that last truck to the airport. Package has no time to get checked. It's smooth sailing all the way, feel me?
Do you see your work as a necessary rebellion against a restrictive system, or are you merely playing a role in an ancient cycle?
This is is a deeply ingrained cycle in American history. From its inception, the country was built on a fundamental friction between the people and the distant elites. When the system breaks and the laws don't align with reality, Americans must push back. They don't wait for permission from a system that refuses to bend. Instead, they carve out their own space in the gray, bending the rules to force the system to change.
In the toy district, you are surrounded by the tools of commerce. When you walk away with your packages, do you feel a sense of power? Or do you feel like a man who is simply delaying an inevitable collision with the forces of order?
If you mean order, it must be government and laws. But there's a time and place for everything. In the 90s, cannabis might have been a federal issue, but with legalization spreading across the East Coast, things are changing. Right here in the toy district, the focus is on illegal counterfeiting. New York City is more concerned with human trafficking and child predators, as they should be. The government is overwhelmed with dealing with fentanyl and terrorist threats and doesn't have the bandwidth to care about a plan. But I'm not naive. There are locations all over Middle America who are stuck in the 50s. Flying over them is safe, but driving through them is dangerous. If you try to drive significant weight through the middle of the country on state highways, where local law hasn't caught up, you're asking for fucking trouble. It's a patchwork of laws. We operate in the vacuums created by state exhaustion and shifting priorities, but you always have to know exactly what ground you're standing on.
If the government is that distracted, you aren't fighting a grand war against the state. Do you feel like your freedom only exists because you've learned to hide in plain sight among the cracks?
I don't know, man. I'm just a mouse trying to get some cheese.
When you describe yourself as a mouse looking for cheese, it implies you know the cats are always out there. Does accepting that reality bring you peace, or does it add urgency to the survival hustle?
I'm just grateful to be here in America. It could be worse. I could be counted as one of those billions of Asians currently living in poverty in the third world. Even with the risk and the cats in the maze, the hustle here still gives you a shot. Because at the end of the day, I'm talking about personal freedom. It's about the independence to choose your own risks instead of being put in a cage. That's all this really is.
We transition now to the East Coast, to New York City, a colossus of concrete and glass rising from the water like a monument to human ambition. The cargo has arrived, transported seamlessly through the uncaring arteries of global transit.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a boarding announcement for Flight 420 with service to Salt Lake City, now boarding at Gate 710.
A place defined by perpetual motion, where thousands of travelers scurry forward, entirely oblivious to the clandestine networks operating right beside them. They are moving now, hurtling down the highway toward the activation. There is no time to rest, no moment to acclimatize to the shift in time or space. The pipeline doesn't pause. The city slides past the tinted glass, a blur of concrete and billboards, as they drive toward the Sesh, ready to plunge directly into the vibe of the underground circus. From across the water, the glittering skyline of Manhattan appears as a promise. But for these operators, it's a battlefield of pure distribution. They don't bring their goods to the isolated alleys of the outer boroughs, where predators lurk. Instead, they bring the Sesh directly into the chaotic epicenter of Times Square, seeking refuge in numbers. In the blinding light and thousands of eyes, the threat of robbery evaporates. They hide their underground commerce in plain sight, using the crowd as their ultimate armor. The city's bandwidth is consumed by terrorist attacks, the fentanyl crisis, and human trafficking, rendering it indifferent to the transaction happening right in front of them. For these operators, this building is a tactical shield, the precise area they choose as the trap solely for their own safety, as it's been since time immemorial.
Fast fact, Tupac was shot 5 times in this lobby, then rode this elevator to safety.
Once a premier recording studio, this acoustic temple faced obsolescence as technology advanced. To survive, it found a new entertainer, transforming into a ground for cannabis pop-up markets.
Alright, class, listen up. This is traffic school.
Hey, ¿qué onda, carnales? Today we're breaking down the big four shippers and which ones give you the best shot moving weight across state lines. Let's talk the best options, real talk. ¿Me entiendes? USPS is hands down your best option, cabron. Why? Because for sealed packages, especially priority or first class mail, they need a search warrant to open it. They can't just rip it open like the private companies can. Plus, they're underfunded, overloaded, and can barely keep the doors open. They don't have the time or resources to be playing Big Brother with every single box. ¿Me entiendes? Yes, Zara, do you have a question?
Teacher Soto, excuse me, sir. What happens if they do pick up your package at the post office?
Orala, Zara, good question. If they intercept your package, they just send you a simple letter giving you the option to claim your package or have it seized. Yes, Chenedu?
Teacher Soto, you dey joke ba? So if them send letter, it means say my package dey safe. I go dress fine, wear my agbada, go there like big man and collect my property. I tell him thanks for keeping it safe for me.
Yeah, my Nigerian brother still no hear me. Cabron, I said do not go pick it up. You see why we gotta be careful with these shippers? Speaking of bad decisions, let's talk about FedEx. You should avoid that shit like a crazy ex-girlfriend, cabron. She shows up unannounced, digs through all your shit, works with the federales, and ruins your whole life. Most likely outcome, headaches, heartaches, and unwanted guests at your door. Stay far away from FedEx, Raza. Orale, Raza. That's it for today's class on the big four shippers. Remember, USPS is usually your best bet. If you learned something today, do me a solid. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next lesson. ¿Me entiendes? Drop your questions or wild stories in the comments. We reading all that shit. And always remember, stay calm, stay legal, stay lucky, and most important, don't speed, homie.
Alright, class, listen up. Watch and learn the rules of the road. Let's get it. Buckle up, the lights turn green. Welcome to the wildest scene. Rules of the road and a little bit of cool. This is traffic school.